How's it going, guys? In today's video, we're going to be trying something new. We're going to see what would have happened if the Leafs chose to send Auston Matthews down to the AHL for his rookie season, opposed to playing him in the NHL. There's always people arguing how rookie players need to develop in the AHL before making the jump to the NHL, so we will see once and for all who is right about that argument. Obviously, Auston Matthews, the first overall pick, he's a very good player. We're going to do a simulation where he plays in both the AHL as well as a simulation where he plays in the NHL, and we're going to see which simulation is better for him in terms of like growing his overall rating. So I think Matthews starts out in 85, and basically at the end of the regular season, or actually we could even say at the end of the summer, we'll see where he has a higher rating after a season in the AHL or a season in the NHL. So obviously here we just got to start up a GM mode as the Toronto Maple Leafs. So hit the GM name there, Lou. Go to the Toronto Maple Leafs here. I think, is Auston Matthews one of their top players? Or he's not. It's Anderson, JVR, and Polak. That is very interesting. For the GM mode settings here, owner mode, we'll leave that on. Fantasy draft, obviously off. Salary cap on. GM firing on. Assistant coach edit lines. I want this off so that they can't like move him around the lineup. I want to make sure he's playing either first line center AHL or we'll put him on the first line center NHL and see how those two like compare. Waivers on, morale meetings, we'll turn those off to make it easier. CPU trades can be on, auto finances, we'll put that on. Relocation off, auto sign free agents, we'll also have that off. Next thing here, we just have to look at the rules and settings. So for this one, I'm going to try and make it as authentic as possible. And as you guys can see here, I have the game style set to full sim, which is the most realistic. The rules, of course, are NHL. Injuries, though, I need to turn off to ensure that Auston Matthews plays a full season in both the AHL and the NHL. If he gets injured in either one, it could really throw off his rating. Like depending on how long he's out for, it could affect his morale, who he's playing with, things like that. So we have to turn that off, which will change the rules to custom, but it's still NHL, just of course with no injuries. It just does that. Period length, obviously 20 minutes. Difficulty, superstar. Everything else there is, the right setting. So hopefully it's the most authentic sim possible. Alright guys, so I just started up the franchise mode, and obviously the first thing we have to do is send Auston Matthews down to the minors. So I'm going to quickly do that. Just got to go to roster moves here. I'm actually curious to see where he'd be on the NHL depth chart in terms of centers. So he's an 85, Bozak's an 85, Kadri's an 85. So all three of them there could play first, second, or third line centers. That's really interesting, but like I was saying, we're going to send him down to the AHL, play him first line center in the AHL, and see how that affects his growth compared to if we left him in the NHL. Also, guys, forgot to mention both Matthews' potential and his role. As you can see, he's 19 years old with medium elite potential, so obviously he is going to turn into a very good player. And if you click on him here, you can see that his role is a second line forward, which basically means as long as he's playing second line forward or better, he will continue to grow. If he's playing first line forward, he might grow even more if he's being productive there. But if he's playing third or fourth line forward, that might hurt his growth, as that's not really where he should be playing. Now, having him play first line center in the AHL would be interesting, as he is playing above second line, but he's in the AHL, and that's why I'm kind of curious to see if he still grows or does it hurt his growth. Obviously, time will tell. So right here, guys, I look at the Marlies lineup. As you can see, I've got Michalek, Matthews, and Kapanen there on the first line. So Matthews is obviously playing first line center, and then we got a veteran sniper on his left wing, and then we got a young up-and-coming sniper on his right wing. So we'll see how that first line does for him if you're interested about the other lines. There's a look at the second line, third line, and fourth line. Obviously, Marlies filled with like 80 overall players that just kind of got buried in the AHL. Defense there, Corrado is in the AHL opposed to being scratched all year. Carrick's also in the AHL. The Leafs have Riley, Gardner, Prolak, Zaitsev, Hunwick, and Marincin in front of him. So with no injuries, he was just kind of the guy to go to the AHL. Also, guys, I have Matthews playing on pretty much every special team. He's the first line center on the power play and the four-man power play. He's the second center on the penalty kill and the second center on the three-man penalty kill. So he's going to be out there a lot, getting a lot of ice time, which I think he should be. He's also an extra there on the 4-on-4. 4-on-4 continued. There's the third line. 3-on-3 is on the first line. First extra attacker. And he's also in the shootout. So he's going to be playing a lot, and I think it'll be really interesting to see how well he grows in the AHL. I guess we'll just start the sim now and see what happens. So I just simmed to the halfway point of the AHL season. I'm kind of curious to see if there'll be any difference between the first half and the second half in terms of Matthews' production. You can see that the Marlies there, 20-12-2, so doing quite well here with their lineup with Matthews as their first line center. Second place right now in the division, but obviously our concern is how well is Auston Matthews doing. He's actually not the leading scorer. Milan Michalek is, of course, his first line left winger there. But Matthews has 27 points in 34 games. His rating hasn't dropped, nor has it gone up. He's still an 85 there, so it's interesting, I think. Reichel's actually got 23 points, more than Kapanen, who's on his first line right wing. Kapanen has gone up by 1. Michalek also hasn't changed, playing first line there with Matthews. So kind of interesting. I thought Matthews would definitely be the leading scorer, but still half the season to go. We'll see if anything changes in the second half. So just finished simming through the rest of the season. Marlies here finished the record of 41, 30, and 5. So pretty solid record. Should be good enough to make the playoffs. I also noticed the locker room chemistry there is a 77. We did make the playoffs, second place there in our division with 87 points. Clinched a playoff spot. So it'll be interesting too to see if maybe like playing in the AHL playoffs will help Matthews compared to if say the Leafs didn't make the playoffs. Obviously we'll have to see that when we do the Leafs sim. I'm going to take a look here and see. So Matthews is actually now the leading scorer, 70 points. That's good to see. Figured that eventually he would come around. 76 games played, 19 goals, 51 assists, 70 points. So pretty solid season from him. 16 penalty minutes there, plus 11, 4 power play goals, 0 shorthanded, 2 game winners. Shooting percentage of 11.7%, so pretty solid. 933 faceoffs, 1 of 1,700. So quick math, that's a little over 50%. 53.7, there it is. 60 hits, what is this? Giveaways, takeaways. You Corsi people can look at that. Minutes, I think that's it. So pretty interesting there. Figured he'd have a good season. I honestly did expect him to have a little over a point per game opposed to a little under. So he got 70 points. I was probably expecting him to get like 80, maybe even a little over 80, as he is 85. But still, I guess it makes sense. He was playing penalty kill and stuff like that. He was kind of an all-around guy. McCallick there at 64 on his line, so he had a really good season playing with him. Greening actually had 50, and he was like the third line left winger, I believe. Captain there at 50, playing on his first line, and he actually went from a 77 to an 80, so he really grew. So I guess it kind of shows you, playing with good players, you're going to grow. So we'll start the playoffs now. We'll see how he does in the playoffs. Probably just sim through all the playoffs, take a look at his playoff stats, and then we'll sim to the end of the summer and see what his final rating is for the first year in the AHL. As you guys can see here, the playoffs have ended. The Stanley Cup champions were the San Jose Sharks, and the Calder Cup champions were the Toronto Marlies. So Matthews' first year there, playing in the AHL, gets a Calder Cup, so that's pretty cool. If you guys are wondering how it all went down, I can quickly show you that. So I'm going to go back a few months there. Syracuse Crunch, we played in the first round, beat them 3-1. Bridgeport Sound Tigers, we actually beat in 7 games. Wolfpack there, we beat in, how many games was that? 6 games. And then the Gulls here, we also beat in 6 games to win the Calder Cup in San Diego. So pretty crazy there. Marlies winning the Calder Cup. Didn't even finish first in the division. They finished second, but got it done in the playoffs. So really interested now to see how Matthews' playoff stats look. Like I was saying, I think having a good playoff will also affect his rating and boost it. So Peter Holland's actually the playoff leading scorer, 21 points, 23 games, plus 11. Reichel also had 21. Matthews had 20, so just behind them. Still an 85 though, even though he's been crushing it this year. 6+6 rating there. 3 power play goals, couple game winners, which is huge in the playoffs. So again, not amazing, but still a very solid season. So obviously the season's now over. We're just going to sim to the end of the summer. So like right before the next season starts, as players do grow over the summer, and see what effect this season has had on his player growth. Alright guys, so as you can see, I simmed to the end of the summer. It's actually now September 13th, so we can actually look at the edit lines now. I'm going to see what Austin Matthews' rating is. Hopefully he's still on the Marlies. Hopefully they didn't call him up to the NHL team yet. Actually that shouldn't have happened. There's no assistant coach. There he is, 88 overall. So he's actually gone up 3 overall at the end of the summer, so that's really interesting. For whatever reason, Soshnikov's now on the AHL teams in 84, Captain's in 82, so he grew a lot playing with Matthews. Nylander's in 85, he of course was in the NHL, Martin 83 there. So pretty interesting. I also want to take a look at the awards for the AHL. That was something I forgot to do. And then obviously we're going to compare this to what one season in the NHL would look like for Matthews. I'm not going to spend as much time on that. I'll just simply show you guys what line he's playing on, sim to the end of the year, and just take a look at his rating. But like I was saying, we're going to take a look at the awards here and see if he kind of cleaned up in the AHL. I think he should have. He had a very good year. Of course, we won the Calder. Did we get any other team awards here? We also obviously won the Eastern Conference. Player awards, he didn't get that one, or that one, or that one. Matthews even get a single player award. Peter Holland got MVP of the playoffs, and Matthews had like 1 less point than him. So actually Matthews got no awards, unfortunately, but he did have a very good season, and he grew by +3. So again, going to do this now in the NHL, compare, and see which one would be a better option for Austin Matthews. So right here, guys, I look at the Maple Leaf lineup we're going to be using for the NHL sim. I try to make it as realistic as possible. First line there, JVR, Bozak, Marner. Second line, Nylander, Matthews, and Hyman. Third line, Komarov, Kadri, Soshnikov. Fourth line there, Lupul, Smith, and Martin. Lupul's in instead of Brown, just due to like cap and stuff like that. And I think if Lupul was healthy, he'd be playing. Obviously, we can do authentic lines for the NHL. For the AHL line, Matthews didn't play in the AHL, so we weren't really sure who he'd play with, but I think McCalloch and Kapanen were good wingers from there. Just like the AHL, he's going to be playing all the special teams, first line on the power play, and the 4-man power play, and then he's second line there on the penalty kill, as well as the 3-man penalty kill. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this affects his growth. He's going to be playing second line there in the NHL. I thought about making him first line in the NHL, but I figured to make it more of a realistic sort of comparison, it makes sense for him to be playing first line AHL and then second line NHL, which is actually where he's playing in real life, to see, kind of how that would work out. So we'll see what happens. He has a second line role, so it's definitely not going to affect him negatively or anything like that. He's playing on all the special teams. So just going to sim through this entire year and see how many points he has as well as his rating when we're finished. Alright guys, so I just simmed the end of the regular season, and as you can see there from the playoff brackets, we did not make the playoffs. Toronto actually didn't have too bad of a season though. I was actually curious to see if they were going to make it or not before I went and checked. 89 points, we actually 1 point out of a playoff spot there. Ottawa just beat us, so would have been good to make the playoffs, obviously give Matthews some more games. We actually did finish 13th though in the NHL. We just got robbed there. 3 worst teams in the West that made it, so that does suck. But I guess it's just kind of typical for Toronto's luck. So here we go, we're going to take a look at Matthews' points. JVR was the leading scorer with 70, and Matthews had 54 points in 82 games, so not too bad. Already in 86. At the end of the AHL regular season, he was still in 85. Also, guys, I just noticed this. Matthews had a minus 22 rating in the NHL, so I'm not sure what is up with that. Maybe it was his wingers, but theirs aren't as bad. Nylander there, minus 15. Hyman, minus 14. And both of them also grew during the year. I think Hyman went from a 79 to an 80, and then Nylander went from an 80 to an 83. So really don't know what's up with that. Kadri was playing third-line center, finished with a couple more points. So kind of all interesting there. Like I said, we'll see how he grows. Really interested to see what ends up happening. So this is really interesting, guys. The playoffs just ended, and the Calder Cup champions are again the Toronto Marlies. So even without Auston Matthews, they still won the Calder Cup. That doesn't always happen. And the Stanley Cup champions are the Penguins. So the 2 Stanley Cup finalists from last year won in 2 different sims. So pretty cool there. Like I was saying, we'll get to the end of the summer and see Matthews' rating. So it's now September 13th. This is the exact same day we checked Auston Matthews' rating after the AHL sim. So I'm not sure if he'll be on the NHL lineup. I think for whatever reason he starts in the AHL and you got to call him up. But we'll check the NHL team first. So yeah, I'm not seeing him here, which means he's in the AHL. So we'll check his rating, and it's an 88. So we learned nothing. He has the exact same rating, whether you have him play in the AHL or the NHL. How anticlimactic is that? Even Nylander there. Well, I guess Nylander stayed in the NHL both times, so he went to an 85 both times. Marner was an 83 last year, though. Now he's an 82, so for whatever reason, he's one different. I'm trying to remember what Kapanen was at the end of last sim, playing with Matthews, as he wasn't playing with Matthews this year in the AHL, but I can't remember. I think he was around an 82, so literally told us nothing. That kind of sucks. I was really hoping it would have been a different result, but as it turns out, it's not. He's now a first-line forward. I think the same happened last time after winning the AHL. One thing we do need to check, though, is the NHL awards. I'm curious to see if Matthews might have won the Calder. That'd be pretty cool. So we'll just go do that quickly. Really wish, he had a different rating. I'm kind of rattled about that, that we didn't get any different results. So right there, the team awards, player awards here. I'm just going to go through. Thornton had a great year. That's usually not the case. Laine actually won the Calder, so there you go. I wonder if that's what's going to happen in real life. Will Laine take the Calder over Matthews? I doubt he won any of these other awards, so no awards for Matthews there. And whether he went in the AHL or staying in the NHL, it looks like he'll grow just the same. If you're playing NHL 17, I feel like real life probably a little bit different, but maybe not. If you're a really good player like that, maybe you're going to be good no matter where you play. So anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up. And let me know if you want to see more NHL 17 simulations where you see kind of like what would happen if this happened, or what would happen if this player went there. Stuff like that. Other than that, though, guys, that is it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.